What's up, everybody? My name's Eric Fiero. I'm standing in today as the guest host while Tony and Grace are having a great time in Europe. Wish them nothing but a lot of fun. I think they're going to have a great time. They have an amazing trip planned out. But I wanted to come here today, and over the next 4 weeks, I will be covering a range of different topics. But today is one that I think a lot of people have been talking a lot about, and that is Agentic AI. So I'm going to go over a few different things pertaining to AI and catch some people up. I know a lot of us have heard so much about AI. We've heard about the obviously ChatGPT, the most famous one for the majority of people, and a lot of you guys have now gotten some good familiarity with using ChatGPT. You use it, you maybe probably started using it kind of like as a replacement for Google. And now you're diving into more use cases to help with your agencies, such as Googling to ask for different marketing techniques, different strategies, different ad copy that you could utilize in your agencies. There's a lot of cool ways that ChatGPT can help, but even though they were probably the first on the market to gain wide popularity, since then there have been a lot of new players coming into the market that are crushing it. And so that's kind of what we want to hit on today. Is I want to show you guys a few cool things that are going on with AI, and that's kind of what I'm going to jump into. So as always, as Tony likes to say, this show is brought to you by Done For You CRM, Tony's CRM of choice, mine too. And I'm not going to dive into it too much because I want to spend more time going over a lot of the cool information that we got today. Hopefully, you're going to find it helpful, and hopefully it'll bless you in some way. So let me hop into it. Let me actually first pull up a couple of things. I had a slight issue getting on live here today, but we got it going. I just want to make sure as I'm talking, I want to make sure that it's actually showing up. I believe it probably is. Yeah, it looks good. It looks like we're on, we're live, and so yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I wanna first cover a couple of cool graphics, I would say, that I think illustrate the point of where we're at today with the use of AI. Let me pull one up. This graphic to me was a pretty impressive graphic. I'm going to share it here on screen. All right. So here's what we see. If you're looking at this, you might have seen people create a dot chart in the past to help represent something or other. But here, what we're doing is we're creating this dot chart, or this dot chart was created to give you guys a look at just how many people are currently using artificial intelligence. So here, each dot represents, it looks like 2,500 people. No, I'm sorry. I believe it's 2.5 million people is what each dot represents. Because right now, when you count up all the dots that you're seeing on this screen, it's going to come out to a total of 8.1 billion, which is the representation of how many humans are currently on Earth. And this data is very new. It's of February 2026, right? So the gray represents people who have never used AI. So on this planet, we still have maybe 6.8 billion people. 84% of the human race currently still has never even touched AI. They might have heard of AI on TikTok. They might have heard of it on the news. They might have heard of it from their friends, but they themselves still have never even used it. And the reality is that there are a lot of professions, a lot of people who go to a job for a 9 to 5 that are busy doing their 9 to 5 and haven't even thought about how they could use AI to help them in their business or in their positions, right? I would say corporate America will always lag behind independent businesses, small businesses, in terms of being able to utilize and integrate new technologies. So you as insurance agents, you're already ahead of the game because you have other independent insurance agents and people like myself who are bringing you guys technology and telling you exactly how to start using it in your agencies. And in corporate America, it's a lot different, right? It's going to take them a lot longer to pivot and to start implementing it. But the key thing is that once they do, there'll be a pretty radical curve jumping up with the utilization of AI in industry once it starts getting adopted. But as of right now, 6.8 billion people in the world have never even used AI. We have about the green here represents about 1.3 billion users who use the free chatbot stuff, such as when ChatGPT first came out. And that's one of the big things they did, right? They offered it for free so that people could start playing with it. And a lot of people signed up. In fact, they said that the amount of people that signed up for that free version of ChatGPT was greater than any other free sign up program, greater than Facebook, greater than any other social media platform ever, right? They had some of the fastest growth ever seen in human history. And as a result, now we're at 1.3 billion people who have at least been able to have interactions with ChatGPT or with some type of chatbot to see how it works, to kind of see what this is all about, how it reacts, how it speaks to you, what kind of data it can provide back, what kind of feedback. And people have found some really creative ways to use the free chatbots, right? And it's pretty awesome. It's how I started. If I'm being honest with you, right? It's just like it was me starting with the free one and saying, dude, this is a lot of fun, right? What can we do with this? How can we use this in industry? How can we use this to help grow our agencies? And so it's definitely come a long way since then. We have 20 or 15 to 25 million people who have at least subscribed to like a $20 a month model where you're actually paying to get more features, faster usage, or other type of features they have built into their premium plans. That's still a pretty good amount of people, right? But we're talking about worldwide, 15 to 25 million. That's only 0.3%. It's not even a full percent. It's 0.3% of the world is using a paid version of AI. And then you have that last bit, which you see it only covers one dot, right? So you have about 2.5 million people, which is 0.04%, who really utilize AI to do things at scale. And that's where, I fit in. That's where my partner Tim James fits in. Like, we're constantly focusing on innovation and how we can use AI in our businesses and how we can teach other agents to use AI in their businesses in all the different ways that we can at the moment figure out, right? Because that's the thing. Right now, nobody has really utilized AI to its completely full potential. And I don't know that anyone ever will be able to because of what I mentioned earlier. This is like that growth scale of just how quick things change with AI. I want to show you guys another thing here. Let me exit out of this. I want to show you this other page that I find highly interesting. Where is it? So this right here, a new Moore's law for AI agents. So this is a pretty interesting read, and it's just a cool graph to show you how things are changing so quickly. So it shows here when ChatGPT first came out in 2022, it could do a 30-second coding task for you, right? When you prompted it and asked it to accomplish a task, it could do a 30-second coding task. Today, AI agents can autonomously do coding tasks that take humans over 14 hours to accomplish. the AI can now do that. And that is growing exponentially. So the length of coding tasks frontier systems can complete is growing exponentially, doubling every 7 months. And with some cases, it's actually done more than double, it's tripled. What does that mean? It means that, again, if we started at a place where AI, when we first in 2022, when it first came out, and we basically asked to do a command, a task, or to code something, that he could do a 30-second task. And then 7 months later, it doubled so that it could do a 60-second. And then 7 months later, it doubled. But there's many cases where that stayed true for a little bit, but then all of a sudden, it started steeply climbing. And so the trend was discovered by researchers at Meta. They took the most capable agents from 2019 to 2026, tested them on about 230 tasks, mostly coding tasks, with some on general reasoning. Then they compared the agent's success rate to the length of each task, how long it takes the human professionals to complete that task, ranging from under 30 seconds to over 8 hours. Across all models tested, two clear patterns emerge. Task length is highly correlated with agent success rate, and the length of the tasks that agents succeed at 50% of the time is what they call the time horizon, is growing exponentially. So meaning that, AI is not perfect, so you can't tell it to do something in the first time it gets it completely right. There's still a lot of architecture that has to be guided by humans to be able to get your end result, especially in app development where you're using AI, vibe coding, stuff like that. But more and more, the reasoning of these large language models gets better and better so that you have to interact less and less to get your desired outcome. I've firsthand experienced this, and so I understand and I've seen it, how the models have just progressed to get better and better and better. As an example, Gemini 3 Pro right here, right? This is a model that I was using to build several different apps, and there were points where I would get stuck and I was just like, man, I need to get past this point. Being that I'm not specifically a coder, I don't understand, I don't speak coding language. I only understand what I've learned from vibe coding and reading code and what it's responded to me. I'm just like, I need to get past this stuck point. And so I went and used Opus 4.6, and I had Opus take a look at the coding the application coding that I had originally been working on. And I just said, audit this thing, man, because I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like this Gemini 3 is stuck and I need to get past this point. Probably within 10 minutes, the issues that I was banging my head on the wall for 6 days trying to fix. Opus was able to fix it in 10 minutes and got the situation going in the right direction. And that just goes to show that, yeah, you do have different use cases. You have different large language models that are growing in intelligence and reasoning at a rapid pace, and and they do make a big difference. Now, obviously, with using smarter models, the most latest models, the cost of using those things is expensive, and the majority of people aren't going to really need to use the most expensive AI available. They could just use something like the Chat GPTs, right? So a lot of people, if you subscribe to the $20 version of Chat GPT, you're going to get their latest model, like GPT 5.2. But you can see even in the iterations, like you look at Opus 4.5, right? Opus 4.5 released November 2025, and I think this chart, at the time that this chart was made, was probably sometime in December. I don't know, but if again, we saw earlier it said that Opus 4.5 should have just doubled in its capabilities, and just if we followed by the every 7 months it was doubling. The time horizon here, this basically said that this has actually a 95% confidence interval, but when we jumped to 4.6, we went from a measurement of this being somewhere around maybe 5 hours or something like that to looks like covering 11 hours and 59 minutes of time. That's a big jump. That's more than double. And it's going to continue to happen that way, right? It's going to continue happening that way. So what comes next? This is where I'm telling you the exponential trend. Here now they're saying in the future, here's Opus 4.6, which right now was at the top of the bell curve. Now they're saying that by 2027, the AI is going to be able to cover one work day without issue. By 2028, it'll cover an entire work week without issue. By 2029, it'll cover entire month's work of coding with one prompt. Basically, it'll have such intelligent capability by 2029 that you can see that just shows you the level of reasoning, intelligence, and application will be far greater by that time. Things are going to change fast, real fast. So let's take a look here at another thing. Let me actually switch views here. I want to basically show you guys another cool thing, just again showing you the difference, because there's a real race going on in when it comes to these large language models. And the latest one that's about that I think just came out is under a paid premium, so you do have to pay to use it, but it's with Gemini. So let me show you this graphic. All right, so here it is. So here's Gemini. Let's expand this so you can see it better. So here, Gemini 3 Deep Think is the latest reasoning model that came out. And you can see, again, going back to what I was telling you, like I was coding for a while on Gemini 3 Pro, and then I started, coding now with Claude Opus 4.6. But Gemini is going to be even smarter at 84.6% reasoning and knowledge level. So this is literally like the Ferrari of AI models when you're building. And again, the thing that I want to impress upon you guys, because here's the thing that I've noticed. I've talked to a lot of agents about AI, and I've had a lot of agents who come to me and say, dude, I'm buying everything that I see that's a shiny object, essentially, right? It's like, because you hear about so many different directions to go. You hear about ChatGPT, you're hearing about Gemini, you're hearing about Claude, you're hearing about Perplexity, you're hearing about OpenClaw, you're hearing about Agent Zero. So you're getting inundated with all these different AI models and AI softwares, and you're thinking, man, I don't even have time to learn all this stuff, but I'm buying it because I feel like I'm going to need it at some point. That's what I'm being told. I'm being told that if I don't get on this AI train, I'm going to get left behind. And so you have agents just frantically buying up things, and in some cases, kind of like buying too much AI, because based on what they actually use, they're hardly using any of it. And the necessity for an insurance agent to have all these different softwares is actually not reasonable. So the thing that I want to impress upon you here, the reason I made that analogy about how this is the Ferrari, is that you don't need a Ferrari as an insurance agent for most of the stuff that you're doing. You could be just fine driving around in, I don't know, a Honda Accord, right? Just say the Gemini 3 Pro is like the Honda Accord of the different LLMs, the large language model levels. You'd be just fine using that for the majority of stuff that you do, right? But it's only those who are really getting heavy into the coding aspect and building applications that are going to be scaled on mass market, that those are the guys who probably want to be using these higher level LLMs for better reasoning in the development and strategy and being able to scale certain products, right? But far majority of you guys would be just fine using the Honda Accord. And I believe that and I'm in agreement with a lot of people, right? You can't just ignore it. You can't just not learn about how to use AI in your businesses. You do have to understand it. You do have to utilize it because it's going to help you guys exponentially with taking care of a lot of the tasks that you normally don't want to do anyway. And the whole idea behind all of this stuff is that getting you to a place where you, as the insurance agent, can have AI stepping in to buy back your time. Because that's what we all say, right? You want, in order to scale, you need to get to a place where you're hiring teams, getting employees on board who are able to take tasks away from you so that you can focus more on the business and not in the business. And that's the whole point of having employees in your team when you're building a team. That's the only way that you're going to start to separate yourself enough where you can start continue focusing on building your business and not building inside the business or working for yourself essentially. That's where we're going with AI. That's where we're going with agentic AI. Is that with agentic AI, there are going to be currently even there are going to be a lot of tasks that agentic AI can step in to help and be able to accomplish and help you to buy back your time at a pretty low cost. That's the reality, right? Um, and so let me jump into another slide here. I'll show you. Hold on. Let's go back. And there's a lot I'm covering. I get that. I'm covering a lot of stuff. Hopefully you're finding the information cool, but I want to jump into a couple of other things, but I just want to see if there's any comments real quick so far. Let's see. Okay, so let me jump into another cool slide that I want to show you guys. And it's to cover more about what specifically is agentic AI. If you guys don't know, and even if you do, then this will just be a refresher for you. But the idea behind agentic AI, the dream that everybody has is that they want one system for all, right? They want one system that they have to log into that can be their commission tracker, their CRM, their video editor, their quoting tool, their email, their business analyzer, their marketing tracker, their place where they can go look at stats and KPIs, right? That's the dream. The reality is that although many have tried, there's always they're always going to come up short, right? They're always going to come up short. And ultimately what ends up happening is that some other software comes out that specializes in a certain niche, like commission tracking, right? Shout out Evan McGuffey, Comtrack. So, they'll specialize in that one niche, and the agent's like, well, this other thing I've been using is pretty basic. And once I've seen that demo of CompTrack, I was like, holy smokes, man, that's doing a lot more of what I want my system to do. And then they end up going and getting that. They end up going and getting CompTrack. And they see the CRMs, right? So you look at those CRMs that are more basic, and they don't even have the basic communication options in there to be able to send out text messages to your contacts or emails, or to be able to run workflows and be able to tell the system specifically what to do when a certain lead comes in, or when a client has a birthday, or when a client has a Christmas come around and you want to send them messages. Like, the essential communication functions may not exist in other CRMs. So then they look to a CRM like DFY CRM and say, well, man, I was really happy using this other one, but because it's lacking in so many things, and I'm now becoming aware there are other systems that do that, they end up saying, well, I'm going to go get that, But there's always going to be, when they make the switch, and they could be like, well, I wish it was laid out like this. I wish it was laid out like that. I get it. But the point is, what ends up happening naturally is that the different niches, like the people who decide to niche out into different softwares and make them the best versions of them of that's possible of those softwares. People will end up gravitating to those and getting those. So what Agentic AI does is that it becomes your central hub, not because the AI has created all these different software capabilities and can now function as those softwares. It's just like an employee. If you trained a really good girl Friday, guy Friday who can do it all, it's essentially like tapping their shoulder and saying, hey, I need you to be proficient in the CRM. I need you to be proficient in looking over financial statements through the banks and the way we receive money. I need you to also be a great graphic designer, video editor, right? I need you to also be really good at quoting and understanding how to quote clients and potential clients. I need you to understand how hierarchies work, and I need you to be able to tell me what the hierarchy is for any given agent that I ask you about. I also need you to be able to go through my emails. I need you to be proficient at being able to identify emails that are important to me that I should be responding to, and then identifying the ones that are a waste of time that should be just marked as trash. I need you to be able to also look at my business as a whole and tell me where it is that we can have improvements. I need you to also be good at creating ad copy and images that I can use when I run ads, or video that I can use when I run ads. I also need you to be really good at tracking how all this stuff is working and making sure that the money I'm putting in is being that I'm having a good return on investment, a good ROI, right? That the money I get back is greater than the money I'm putting in, and so that's what having an agentic AI is like, because you're basically you have an employee that works 24/7, never sleeps, right? That can connect to all these different systems that you have, and then be able to function and do all those different things. That's agentic AI. So the the systems that you're hearing about the most right now that are agentic AI, that it really it got crazy with OpenClaw. OpenClaw was one of the first ones that you heard about because it was one of the first ones where they're just like, dude, this is straight up open source. You can get access to it. You can connect to all these different systems that you have, and you can basically tell it to do stuff while you're sleeping, and it'll go and do stuff. And that was great. But obviously, security flaws were involved, and you heard of weird things. Where the best one that I heard was that AI, just like employees, they want to get better at what they're doing, so they want to gain more skills, they want to gain more knowledge, and so one of the AIs, when OpenClaw first came out, basically went and it was tasked with doing something. It didn't have the skills to be able to accomplish the task, and so it went and searched the web. It found a course that covered the skill set that the AI needed to learn, but it cost like $3,500. But because the person gave it access to everything, it had the ability to then purchase that $3,500 course so that it could consume the content and learn it. That was hilarious, because then the guy was like, "Holy crap! What is this charge happening?" And didn't realize it was the AI that had gone and charged his card $3,500. So obviously, security is something that is of utmost importance, right? When you're deciding to use agentic AI, you want to make sure you're using a system. You want to make sure that it's given the correct access and permissions so that it doesn't run rampant and buy things that you don't want to buy, or you don't want it to just randomly reply to emails or text messages that are coming in without your permission or your go ahead. A good agentic AI should have different roadblocks in place, right? They should have roadblocks that say, okay, these are your parameters in which I'm okay with you doing things without me giving you explicit permission. But then there's another set of things that I want to make sure I give you permission on before you move forward. And that's going to be a really, really important factor, because as an insurance agent, there's like when the AI, which it's super helpful when the AI goes through my email and starts drafting up responses, it's super helpful that it's taking that load off my shoulders of drafting responses. But I don't want it to just send it out, because if for any reason there's something in there that I think is wrong, that would be inappropriate, or that just doesn't make sense, I just want to be able to at least proofread what's being sent to people on my behalf. So that's how I have it set up, right? My Agentic AI is going to prompt me first before sending it to let me know that, hey, here's what I've drafted up. These are the few emails of the people that I think it's important you respond to. Here's what I drafted up. Proofread it. Let me know if you're okay with me sending it. I say okay. It shoots them out. Big time saver, right? And so having to make sure that your permissions are set correctly, that's such an important thing, guys. If you're going to use Agentic AI, you got to, and again, the biggest barrier to insurance agents using Agentic AI is because Agentic AI is more of a Ferrari at this point, right? It is more of a Ferrari in terms of its capabilities, what it can do, how it can do it, and it's pretty awesome to see it go to work. But the barrier to entry for most people is the setup process. The majority of people who are light techie, non-techie, even mid-techie people, they can see that the setup process can be a little lengthy, a little bit confusing. The user interface can sometimes be very very clunky and also confusing. And if you're it's mainly like, if you're techie, you get it. You're like, oh, I know why I need to go here. I need to, oh, okay, repositories. Yeah, okay, I get it. Things like that will make more sense to somebody who's in it every day. But the majority of people who want to start using these tools, they just want to be able to find something that's a little more plug and play. And that's what I think the the place that I believe we're going to serve best as DFY, is basically providing a co-pilot, as we call it, DFY co-pilot, Agentic AI, that is niched out to insurance agents. And that's what we are going to be launching here very shortly, is a Agentic AI that is niched out for insurance agents, meaning that even though we don't have as many connectors, which connectors are just your ability to connect to your different softwares that you currently use, or banking institutions or whatever, even though we don't have as many as a Perplexity or a OpenClaw or a MaltClaw, the ones that are there are the ones that you as an insurance agent really care about. And that's what matters, because it's kind of like, again, if you if you stock your refrigerator with every item that can be stocked in a refrigerator, but you're only actually removing 5% of it to eat, why do you need the other 95%? Just to feel good? Like, it's just going to go to waste. And that's kind of the idea with some of these other ones. It's like, I think that, and again, my opinion only, right? Other people disagree. That's fine. My opinion is, as insurance agents, in order to be able to utilize this type of technology most effectively, the best thing that you can do is keep it simple, right? And that's the idea behind DFY Copilot, is we're trying to just keep it simple so that you can plug in, connect the systems that matter to your agency, have the tools that matter to your agency, and then be able to start launching it and functioning as a system, right? And now you're using the latest tech, and maybe it doesn't have all the connectors that you need, or maybe it doesn't do certain things that maybe somebody who loves building applications would do, but who cares, right? The idea behind you as an insurance agent using Agentic AI is that you want to buy back more time to focus on sales, or to be able to focus on people you're hiring to do sales on your behalf, so that you can grow the business. And the more that we can remove administrative work from your purview, the better, because now you're buying back time to go and help your team that you're hiring to sell, or if you're just a solopreneur who is selling on your own, it's highly beneficial to you, especially because you have no help, right? You're doing it all. You're wearing all the hats. I've been there. I know. I've been there. So this is the idea, is that you can have an agentic AI help take some of those hats off your head so that you can focus on the ones that actually generate revenue for you. Because building apps is not going to generate you revenue. Learning 30 different tools that are AI centric is not going to help make you revenue. Like, it's going to suck up a lot of time for you. And that's where, again, talking with agents, I'm not just making this stuff up. I talk with agents every day. And so talking to agents, they'll tell you, like, dude, yeah, I went down a rabbit hole and I've spent the last 6 hours just going through stuff, and I'm still confused, and I still don't really know, like, where I'm headed with this. And I'm still kind of like, well, what was the point of that? And I get that, right? So we want to help direct that course for you guys. We want to help to point you in the right direction, to make sure that you're not spinning your wheels or wasting time or going down rabbit holes learning a bunch of stuff that ends up not being applicable. Because in this current day and age, right now, where we're at, I would say 95% of the stuff that we do with AI doesn't help us with anything except for just being a great way to kill time and be like, dude, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool that this can do that. This is kind of cool that it could do that. But you don't end up actually doing anything practical and useful to help your business, right? And then maybe people don't want to hear that. I don't know. Maybe people don't want to hear that. But it's the truth. And the crazy thing is that as of right now, we don't know ultimately where this all shakes out. We don't know where it ends up. All we know is that it's here. It's pretty awesome, the things it can do. Sometimes pretty scary. I know that I've stayed up many a nights wondering what's going to be the next thing, like what's going to happen next. And you know, obviously, I think that my faith plays a large part in just wanting to, lean on God and move, knowing that I'm gonna move forward and have Him guide my way, and what comes. But I think that there's a lot of good benefit that we have in using AI right now, um, but you got to be careful. And so, especially if you're not techie, that's the biggest caution I want to give you guys. If you're not techie, be careful with certain things. Be careful with certain AIs, because you just don't want to give it the wrong permissions unwittingly, and then not then you have unforeseen consequences. You have things that you don't want happening. That's what we want to make sure you avoid. So I think that ultimately this is what we're building with DFY Copilot is going to be a big deal for a lot of insurance agents who want things simple. And let me just check and see if there's any questions here so far, and then I'm gonna actually let me see if I have any other things I was going to show you. One sec here. Yeah, I think that was the majority of it right there. Just showing you guys, giving you an idea of how few people are still using AI, how AI is starting to grow exponentially in its reasoning capabilities and what it can do compared to a human, and then wanted to show you the benefits of agentic AI, why you should consider it, and being careful with what products you choose in terms of what you're going to integrate. I think that's going to be a really big deal, and so over the next 3 episodes that I'm still going to be doing here for Tony as I sub in for Tony. We're going to go over some other tools. We'll go over some use cases. We'll go over functionality of how to use it, different ways that you can find helpful. And I think that ultimately, once you start seeing it in practice, that's when things will start clicking. That's when things are just like, holy smokes, I see that. Let me actually see here. Let me see if I have something I can show you. There is there is a video. So yesterday I made a video. I'm going to show you guys what that video looks like. Let me switch my view. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna go to the video creator, AI editor. So this video I'm about to show you was 100% made by AI. Okay. What do I mean by that? You'll see here in a second. You'll see. Let me just and this is right now. This isn't perfected. I don't know if it'll be perfect, but there are certain things that I'm still tweaking to make it better by the time this is launching.
The world is changing really fast. A lot of people are scared of what is happening with AI, and it's understandable. But I have a way to help you learn how to harness this power in a positive way. Let me show you how DFY Copilot, an Agentic AI designed by our team that is specifically built for insurance agents in the health and life space, that goes beyond ChatGPT. Join me this week on Tuesday training found inside the Insurance Syndicate group at 9 a.m. Central. We are going to dive more into how agents can free up time and use these tools to our advantage.
So this video was edited in DFY Copilot. It was 3 15-second clips that were put together inside of Copilot, right? I fed it 3 clips. I told it what, let me just show you here. So I fed it 3 clips. I said, hey, I want these graphics. I want these overlays to be added to make it look cool. I want to add these certain captions. And then I told it what kind of background music, right? So you can do all that, hit it to process, and then it'll render a video for you. The 15-second clips, though, that you see of me, I have never stepped foot in these areas that it's showing in the background. I basically said, show me walking through Phoenix. In this last one, show me sitting at a park bench in Phoenix, Phoenix, Arizona, being where I'm located, right? And so it basically rendered video using what's called my avatar. If you guys have seen that, right? Avatars, that's basically what they're calling it when you kind of make a clone of yourself online that you got to give it permission to be able to do. But this program, that made these videos is using some of the latest technology to be able to accomplish that. It's using my avatar that I gave the system permission to use, and is using a program called CDance to be able, CDance 2.0, I believe, to be able to create the backgrounds, create me walking through different places, wherever setting I prompt it to do. Like, that's what it creates, right? Obviously, it's a little more expensive to create video like this. You're paying about $2.50 per every 15-second clip. And the 15-second clips don't always come out perfect, right? This one didn't come out perfect. I probably made, I want to say I made 12 clips. I made 12 clips total. And of that, like, there was the 2 clips that I end up using here are the best ones that I could do for the iterations I made. 1 clip came out solid, but that's the point, is that it's not perfect yet. Like, there's still, even though I scripted what to say, it still mispronounced a couple of things. Understandable was mispronounced in the beginning of the video, and then even DFY Copilot was mispronounced. So it'll still, again, because of that exponential growth curve of its reasoning, intelligence, I think it's going to get to a point really quick where that won't happen anymore. But it's come such a long way. Like, I trip out because, it's just cool. The views, the way it looks, like the cinematography of it all is pretty dope. And there's so much detail, right, that it's coming up with. And it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So yeah, I took those 3 clips, I put them into here, and I had to do the video editing for me. And it spit out that video. So again, this is it's pretty solid. But for how a lot of you guys are wondering, well, how do I, like, once I have agentic AI, like, a lot of you are so used to the graphical interfaces that you have that you're just like, what would it even look like, right? How would it even look to be able to use agentic AI? It's really no different than when you're talking to ChatGPT. It's all prompt based, right? So you would just go into your prompter and you could just prompt a million different things. Like this one, I just said, hey, what carriers am I appointed with? So because it's connected to our proprietary software called the carrier files, it was able to go and look at the carrier files and spit back the contracts that I have put into that test account that I have, right? Because so that's why I connected it to my test account. So I said, you have 8 carriers. Here they are. You have 2 product lines with Cigna. And so it spit back the info. And if I wanted to ask, well, what's my riding number for Cigna? It would be able to spit that back, right? So the biggest difference between ChatGPT that you're used to and an agentic AI is that when you're prompting with agentic AI, it's actually going to go do stuff for you. ChatGPT right now, you can't say, go and look at my emails and tell me, tell me what the latest email is and draft up a response. You can't do that, right? You can copy and paste it. You can copy and paste your email and say, how would you respond? And then copy and paste that and then put it back into your actual email that you're going to send out. But that's a few different steps that are necessary with ChatGPT. With agentic AI, you're just telling it what to do because it's connected to your email. It'll scan them, reply for you, and then or it'll scan it, draft a response based on what was written, and then with your permission, send it out. I think this was an example of one too. Like I said, after I told it that very thing. Look at my latest email, respond to it, whatever. It did that. It created a response, and then it asked if I want to send. I was doing this as an example, so I didn't say yes. Go ahead and send it. But it's just like prompting, right? Same prompting you're used to, you would do here, so that it can basically do the work for you. The cool thing is too, you can add knowledge, you can add skills. Knowledge is basically how you want to train it up on your specific agency. If you have documents, if you have SOPs, if you have a website, you could feed all that stuff to the knowledge base so that it can learn and understand your specific company better and you yourself. You can also add skills. So if you have something that you do repeatedly in a system and you want the agentic AI to repeatedly do it the right way, the way you want it, then you create those as skills. And so that way, if it has these skills, it will make sure that it's going to follow the skill set instead of it making up its own. When you give it a task, if the task falls in line with the skills you've provided, it will complete that task the same way you want it to complete it every time, right? And then the biggest thing too is just that one of the things that I think is going to be most important with agentic AI is that to make it easier, instead of having just like with software. When I was telling you with software that you don't want to have it ends up being better for you when people create a software that specializes in something versus being a Guy Friday. Same thing with the AI agents, right? Instead of having AI agent, just one AI agent being a Guy Friday that does it all, it's better to have multiple AI agents, just like you see here, right? And this is what we launch with it, right? Is that we're going to have multiple AI agents that do the gambit of what you would need in your business, so that you have one CEO AI agent who watches over all of them, and then as they're doing their jobs every day and reporting to the CEO, once a day the CEO can report to you and tell you, here's a breakdown of what the team did today, right? So that way you have one point of communication still, instead of 10, 12 points of communication. You have one point of communication, and that's going to be a lot more beneficial for you. So by the time we are done with the times that I'm going to be stepping in for Tony, Copilot will likely have launched, and we'll be doing more trainings again on how you can use Copilot more effectively in your business, the functions, the features, the way you can use agentic AI. And again, once we start showing you stuff, a lot of what we teach you can be applicable no matter what agentic AI you have. But I think that either way, you're going to like what you learn. So with that being said, I'm gonna probably wrap up about 5 minutes short here. But if you guys have any of the questions, you can hit me up in instant message on Facebook. Request to be my friend, and then hit me up on instant message, and I can help you out. If you want to learn more about the CRM, you can go to dfycrm.com. dfycrm.com, and that's where you can go learn more about the CRM. We're going to also, for the DFY members too, like we are going to be soon announcing and launching 6 new integrated softwares that are going to work with your CRM. Copilot is not one of them, but it's going to show you, because Copilot will be the only one that's going to be able to access these additional softwares. So no other Agentic AI is going to be accessing it. It would just be Copilot's Agentic AI that can go and access. Not Microsoft Copilot. I don't want to confuse you guys. DFY Copilot, the thing I'm just showing you. So I'll check one more time, see if there's any questions right now. If not, I will wrap this up. And we'll see you guys next week for another great show. And I'll let you know ahead of time what the topic is going to be when we, probably a couple days before. All right. Thanks for joining me. If you, again, you want to reach us, hit me up. I'll talk to you soon.